The Royal Space Station floated above a bright blue planet, shining like a giant silver crown in the sky. Every corridor, every hall, and every balcony was full of movement. Soldiers marched, workers rushed, and nobles whispered to each other. Something important was happening today, something the entire empire had been waiting for. The princess had returned after many years, and she had announced a special revelation. No one knew what it was, and that mystery kept the whole station tense. Deep inside the lower decks, where the lights flickered and the noise never stopped, a human mechanic named Aaron worked alone. He tightened bolts, checked wires, and cleaned engine lines. To him, today felt like every other day. He had no idea that the upper levels were bursting with rumors. He had no idea that the royals were preparing for him, not knowing his name but searching for the human who matched his description. He had no idea his quiet life was about to break open. Aaron wiped sweat off his forehead and heard distant footsteps in the hallway outside. Heavy boots. Many of them. He paused. Soldiers never came down here. This place was too dirty, too boring, and too far from the royal sections. Something was wrong. The footsteps grew louder. Voices followed. "Find the human male," someone ordered. Aaron froze. They were searching for a human. There were not many humans on this station. Maybe 3, maybe 4. But something in the soldier's tone felt sharp, urgent, dangerous. He stepped away from the engine and tried to stay quiet. A group of armored guards rushed past his workshop before suddenly stopping, as if sensing something. They looked around. One of them pointed at Aaron's door. Aaron felt his heart drop. He took a step back, thinking maybe he should run. But he had nowhere to go. He was trapped. The door slid open with a hiss. The soldiers filled the doorway. "You," the leader said. "Come with us." Aaron raised his hands. "I didn't do anything." "We know," the guard replied. "You must still come." That scared him even more. If he wasn't in trouble, then why were they here? Up above, in the Grand Royal Hall, the princess stood on a shining platform surrounded by guards and nobles. She walked slowly, feeling a strange pressure inside her chest. Today she was supposed to reveal something important about her past. Something no one believed. Something about the day she nearly died as a child and the stranger who saved her life. A human child. A boy with frightened eyes who pulled her away from fire, carried her through broken halls, and refused to leave her behind even when he was hurt. She remembered him clearly, even after all these years. But everyone in the empire called it a childish fantasy. Royal guards. Council members. Even her own family. They told her no human could have been there that day. They told her it was impossible. They told her she imagined it. But she knew the truth. For years she looked for him. For years she searched planets, stations, and colonies. For years she carried his memory like a hidden flame inside her heart. And today, something inside her told her he was finally here. Her hand trembled as she stood before thousands of waiting eyes. Every alien noble wanted answers. Every council leader wanted the truth. Every soldier waited for her words. But the only person she wanted to see was the human who once saved her life. Down in the lower decks, the guards surrounded Aaron and led him through bright hallways he had never walked before. Workers looked at him with wide eyes. Some whispered. Others stepped away in fear or curiosity. No human had ever been escorted by royal guards before. The rumors spread like fire. Did he break a law? Is he dangerous? Is he special? Aaron wanted to shout that he was none of these things. He was just a mechanic. Nothing more. But the higher they went, the more he sensed that something huge was waiting for him. The doors to the royal hall opened with a loud echo, and everyone turned their heads toward him. Hundreds of glowing eyes stared at him from seats carved from crystal. Shiny armor reflected his face. He felt like a bug trapped under a giant magnifying glass. Then he saw her. The princess. She stood tall, calm, and graceful. But when her eyes landed on him, she stopped breathing. Her pupils widened. Her expression changed from royal calmness to something raw, something emotional, something like shock mixed with recognition. Aaron felt a strange chill. He didn't know her. He had never met any royal in his life. But the way she looked at him, it felt like she had been waiting for him. The entire hall fell silent. The princess took one slow step forward. Then another. And another. Each step echoed through the giant room until she finally stopped in front of him. "Aaron," she whispered. He blinked. "How do you know my name?" The entire hall leaned in, desperate to hear her answer. The princess opened her mouth to speak, but instead of answering, she raised her hand and touched the side of his face gently, like someone touching a memory they thought was lost forever. "It's you," she breathed. "After all these years. It's really you." Gasps filled the hall. Aaron's confusion grew. Her eyes filled with emotions he could not understand. Then she said the words that froze the entire empire. "You are the human who saved my life." The hall remained silent, so silent that Aaron could hear his own heartbeat. He looked around, unsure if this was some kind of mistake. A human like him? Saving a royal princess? It sounded impossible. He took a small step back, but the guards behind him blocked the path. Everyone waited for the princess to speak again. She breathed slowly, trying to calm her racing heart. The last time she saw him, she was a terrified child hiding from attackers, covered in dust and smoke. And yet, she remembered that face. The same eyes. The same quiet fear. The same human who carried her through flames even when he was shaking with fear himself. Now he stood here, taller, older, unsure of what was happening. But the spark of recognition in her eyes burned stronger than ever. The council leader stepped forward. "Your Highness, is this truly the human from your childhood story?" The older nobles shifted, whispering to each other, clearly not believing it. The princess turned sharply. "It is not a story. It happened. And he is the one." Her voice was firm. Confident. Final. Aaron raised his hands slowly. I don't know what you're talking about. I've never met any princess." A fresh wave of whispers rolled across the hall. Some nobles smirked as if that proved their point, that the princess was mistaken. Others stared at Aaron with growing suspicion, wondering how a low-level mechanic got caught up in royal history. But the princess did not look away. She moved closer until she was only a few steps away from him. Her guards tensed, ready to intervene, but she lifted her hands softly, signaling them to stay back. She looked up into Aaron's confused eyes. "You saved me during the attack on Ethra Colony 12. I was only a child. You were hiding in the storage tunnels. When the rebels came, you pulled me away. You protected me." Aaron frowned, trying to search his own memories. There was a faint image, a scared alien child, big eyes, shaking hands, hiding behind broken crates. He remembered helping someone escape through small tunnels while explosions shook the ground. But he never knew who she was. He thought she was just another frightened kid trying to survive the chaos. I remember a girl," Aaron finally said. "But I didn't know she was a princess." Her face softened in relief. The council leader cleared his throat loudly. "Your Highness, this is extremely unusual. The Empire cannot make decisions based on childhood memories." Another noble added, "Humans are not known to be trustworthy, especially with no records of his past." The princess turned her head sharply. "His past? It was your people who erased all records of that attack. Do not talk to me about trust." Gasps spread across the room again. Accusing the council publicly was bold, dangerous, and unheard of. The princess pointed at Aaron. He risked everything for me. And I never forgot. You may deny the truth, but I know what happened. The tension in the hall grew thicker. Aaron felt sweat collecting at his collar. He wanted to speak, to say something that would calm the room, but he didn't understand any of this. Then, something unexpected happened. The princess stepped forward and spoke softly, only loud enough for him to hear. For years, I searched for you. Across planets. Colonies. Even abandoned outposts. Her voice trembled. I promised myself that if I ever found you again, I would tell you the truth. Aaron blinked. Truth? What truth? Before she could answer, a sudden alarm rang through the hall, sharp, loud, urgent. Red lights flashed across the walls. Soldiers rushed in, surrounding the princess instantly. What now? The council leader snapped. A soldier shouted, unauthorized ships approaching, no identification codes. Another guard added, they're armed. They're locking weapons on the station. Panic swept through the hall like a storm. Nobles stood up, shouting. Guards shouted louder, forming protective walls. The princess grabbed Aaron's arm instinctively and pulled him close. Is it the rebels? Aaron asked, fear rising in his chest. No, the princess whispered. The look in her eyes was not fear, it was certainty. It's them. The ones who erased our past. Aaron stared at her. What do they want with me? She looked into his eyes again, her voice barely a whisper. They want to finish what they started. But before he could ask what she meant, the entire hall shook violently. The floor trembled. Cracks ran through the walls. A massive explosion echoed through the upper decks. Attackers have breached the outer ring, a soldier shouted. We must evacuate the princess. The princess grabbed Aaron's hand tightly. No. He comes with me. The guards hesitated but obeyed, forming a protective circle around them. As they started running toward a hidden exit behind the hall, the princess spoke urgently to Aaron. There is much you don't remember. And much they want you to forget. Aaron panted as they ran. Who are they? She looked at him with deep fear. The reason your past is missing. The reason I was targeted. The reason humans disappeared from the Empire. Another explosion shook the passageway. The princess didn't stop running, but her voice grew more intense. I brought you here today to reveal the truth. She squeezed his hand. But now it might be too late. They ran deeper into the dark corridors, chased by alarms, shouts, and the sound of enemy forces breaking through the station. Aaron felt a cold dread growing inside him. For the first time, he realized something terrifying. This wasn't about the princess. It wasn't about her story. It wasn't even about the Empire. This was about him. The hidden passage was narrow, dark, and filled with dust. Alarms echoed from every direction. The air shook with distant explosions. Aaron tried to keep up as the princess pulled him deeper into the tunnels. Her grip was strong, almost desperate, as if she feared losing him again. Behind them, the royal guards fought to slow down the attackers. Blaster shots echoed, screams mixed with metal crashing, and the ground trembled under their feet. Aaron finally spoke, breathless. Princess, what's happening? Why are they after me? She didn't answer. Or maybe she couldn't. Her eyes were fixed forward, sharp and scared at the same time. She pushed open another door, leading them into a cold, secret chamber lit by a single blue light. The door sealed behind them, blocking out the chaos for a moment. Aaron leaned against the wall, panting. You said they erased my past. What does that mean? The princess turned slowly toward him. Her voice shook slightly. It means the life you think you lived, may not be real. Aaron blinked. What? She stepped closer, her eyes searching his face. Listen carefully. When the rebels attacked Ethra Colony 12, they were not looking for me. They were looking for you. He stared at her in disbelief. Why would anyone look for me? I was just a kid. Her expression darkened. You were not just a kid. You were part of a secret program. One the Empire tried to hide. One the enemy feared. Aaron felt a chill run through his whole body. What program? Before she could answer, the lights flickered violently. A loud boom shook the chamber, and dust fell from the ceiling. The princess grabbed his shoulders. They're breaking through. I need you to remember something. Aaron shook his head. I don't remember anything. You must try. He squeezed his eyes shut, forcing himself to dig into the hazy corners of his memory. Bits and pieces flashed, white rooms, strange machines, voices speaking in whispers, and a burning sensation on his skin. He remembered crying. He remembered being locked in a cold room. And he remembered running. Running with someone chasing him. He opened his eyes quickly. What was that place? Why was I there? The princess took a deep breath. It was a human research facility. The Empire used it to study human resistance. You were one of the test subjects. Aaron felt dizzy. Test subject? For what? For something only humans can do, she whispered. Something the enemy cannot allow. He swallowed hard. What can I do? Another explosion shook the door behind them, louder than before. The metal bent inward. The attackers were almost inside. The princess looked at him with a mixture of fear and hope. You can resist them. Resist who? Before she could answer, the door burst open with a deafening crash. Dark-armored soldiers stormed in, their helmets glowing with eerie red lights. Their presence filled the room with a cold, terrifying energy. The princess pushed Aaron behind her. Stay back. One of the attackers stepped forward. His voice was metallic, empty, almost inhuman. The human comes with us. The princess may live if she does not resist. Aaron's heart thudded painfully. Something inside him rebelled at the sound of that voice. His hands shook, not with fear, but with a strange, angry force he didn't understand. The princess stepped forward boldly. You will not touch him. The soldier raised his weapon. It is not your choice. Aaron's chest tightened. The world around him felt distant, blurry. He felt a burning heat rising inside him, hotter, stronger, and more powerful than anything he had ever felt before. Images flashed in his mind. White lights. Needles. Wires. Scientists screaming. Something breaking inside him. Something waking up. The soldier took another step. Aaron whispered, "Stop." The soldier paused, frozen mid-step. The others stared, confused. The princess slowly turned toward Aaron, her eyes wide with shock. He didn't know how he did it. He didn't even know what he did. But the soldier's body refused to move, as if an invisible force held him in place. Aaron's voice trembled. What did I just do? The princess whispered, the truth is coming back. The frozen soldier suddenly broke free of the invisible hold and fired. The shot flew toward Aaron. But the princess jumped in front of him, activating her shield at the last second. The force blasted her back, slamming her against the wall. No! Aaron shouted. The soldiers advanced again. Aaron felt that burning power surge through him once more, this time stronger, clearer, more real. His heartbeat slowed. His vision sharpened. He could hear the soldiers breathing. He could feel their fear. He raised his hand without thinking. A shockwave burst from his palm, invisible but powerful. It slammed into the soldiers, throwing them across the chamber like broken dolls. The room fell silent. The princess struggled to her feet, pain in her eyes, but also amazement. Aaron, you remembered. He stared at his hands, shaking. What am I? The princess stepped closer, her voice soft but filled with truth. You are the last of the human prototypes. The one they failed to break. The one they fear. Aaron backed away, overwhelmed. But why me? Why was I chosen? She placed her hand on his shoulder gently. You were not chosen, she whispered. You were created. Before he could react, more explosions echoed outside. The chamber lights turned red. They were out of time. The princess grabbed Aaron's hand again. There is more you must know, she said, fear rising in her voice. But we must survive first. Together, they ran toward another hidden exit, while behind them, the enemy forces regrouped. And deep inside Aaron, something powerful, something dangerous, something human, began to awaken. The escape tunnel was cold and steep, winding down into the deepest parts of the station. The floor shook beneath their feet, and Aaron could hear the distant metallic thump of enemy boots chasing them. Every time the tunnel lights flickered, he feared the attackers were right behind them. The princess kept moving fast, gripping his hand tightly, as if she thought he might vanish if she let go. Her breathing was quick, but her steps remained steady. She had trained for danger her whole life, but tonight felt different. Tonight, she wasn't protecting a royal secret. She was protecting a human, the human. Aaron tried to calm the storm inside him. His hand still tingled with the strange power he had used moments ago. He didn't understand it. He didn't trust it. And he didn't know when it would burst out again. Princess, he asked softly, what exactly am I? She didn't answer immediately. She stopped at a locked metal door and pressed her palm against a glowing pad. The door scanned her hand, beeped, and slid open with a heavy groan. Inside was another dark corridor. She pulled him in and closed the door behind them. You are something the Empire should have protected, she said finally. Something the enemy thought they destroyed. Aaron frowned. Protected from what? She looked at him with pain in her eyes. From the project that created you. He felt his stomach twist. What was I made for? The princess took a breath, as if preparing herself for a truth she had feared to say aloud. To resist the enemy's mind control, she whispered. To break their influence. To fight where no other species can. Aaron stared at her. Mind control. The word tasted unreal, impossible. They can control minds. They created a mind wave, she said. A pulse that turns entire armies into slaves. Entire planets into tools. No one can resist it. And humans? Aaron asked. Humans were immune, the princess whispered. Your minds are different. Aaron's heart thudded. So they used humans as weapons? The princess shook her head. Not weapons. Shields. You were supposed to be shields for the galaxy. Another boom echoed above them, stronger this time. Dust rained down. The princess grabbed his arm. We need to keep moving. They ran again, deeper into the maze-like tunnels. Aaron's mind spun. He tried to remember anything, about the place he grew up. But all he saw were broken fragments, crying children, white floors, locked doors, cold hands pushing him into a glowing machine. He felt his breath hitch. Princess, he said softly, what if I'm dangerous? She stopped and turned to him. Aaron, you saved me once. You saved me again today. You are not dangerous. He looked away. But those soldiers. I threw them without touching them. That is your resistance, she said. Your mind fights back. Their control signals cannot enter your brain. Instead, you push them away. Aaron swallowed hard. So I'm some kind of weapon? No, she said firmly. You are hope. Before Aaron could reply, the tunnel lights shut off completely. Everything went black. The princess grabbed his hand again. Stay close. A loud metallic scraping echoed in the darkness. Aaron whispered, "What was that?" A deep mechanical growl answered. The princess inhaled sharply. Security drones. The enemy must have taken control. A red eye blinked open in the distance. Then another. Then two more. Aaron's pulse quickened. Princess, they're coming. The drones rolled toward them, metal claws scraping the ground. Their red lights flickered like hungry eyes. The princess pulled out a small blade, the only weapon she had left. But there were too many. Aaron, she said, stepping in front of him. Stay behind me. He grabbed her arm. No. I'm not hiding again. He felt the strange heat rising in his chest, the same burning power from before. His fear twisted into something else. Something sharper. Something fierce. The drones lunged. Aaron raised his hand. A wave of invisible force exploded from him. The tunnel walls shook. The drones skidded back, crashing into each other. Sparks flew as their red eyes dimmed. The princess stared at him, stunned. Aaron, you're getting stronger. He panted, feeling the heat drain slowly from his body. I didn't mean to. You saved us, she said. Again. But before they could catch their breath, a cold voice echoed through the tunnel. You cannot run forever. The voice made Aaron freeze. It wasn't human. It wasn't robotic either. It sounded like many voices speaking as one. The princess stepped closer to him. Don't listen. But the voice grew louder. You belong to us, Prototype 0. You were made for us. Aaron felt his legs weaken. Prototype 0. His chest tightened. The word hit something hidden deep inside him. Memories suddenly flashed, scientists shouting, machines humming, a label on a glass chamber glowing, P0. He staggered, gripping the wall. I've heard that name before. The princess grabbed his shoulders. Ignore them. It's a projection signal. They are trying to break you. The voice whispered again, softer but more chilling. You were created to destroy minds. But we destroyed you first. Aaron trembled. Princess. I don't think I can fight them. She took his hands gently, her eyes intense. You already did. And you will again. He looked at her, shaken. Why do you believe in me so much? She smiled sadly. Because you believed in me first, when I was just a scared child hiding in the dark. Another explosion shook the tunnels. The princess pulled him forward. We're almost at the safe chamber. From there, I can finally tell you everything. Aaron nodded, though fear churned inside him. But as they ran, the strange voice echoed once more. Prototype 0, the truth will destroy you. Aaron didn't know if it meant the truth of his past. The truth of his power. Or the truth the princess was about to reveal. But he knew one thing. Whatever waited ahead was bigger than anything he had faced so far. The tunnel began to shift from metal to stone as they reached the oldest part of the station. The walls were covered in strange carvings, symbols from a forgotten time. The air grew colder, heavier, almost aware of their presence. We're close, the princess whispered. Aaron followed silently, though fear twisted in his stomach. The voice in the tunnel still echoed inside his mind like a shadow he couldn't shake off. Prototype 0. The words clung to him, tightening around his thoughts like chains. They reached a round chamber with a glowing white core in the center. The princess stepped forward and placed her hand on a console. The core brightened, revealing old machines, dusty screens, and a large glass pod standing upright like a coffin. Aaron felt the hairs on his arms rise. Something about this place felt familiar, but wrong. Like a dream he wanted to forget. "This is the oldest secret room of the station," the princess said. "No one comes here. No one even knows it exists. Why did you bring me here?" Aaron asked softly. She turned toward him slowly. Her eyes were filled with fear, sadness, and a truth she had held for years. "Because this is where your life began." Aaron's breath caught. The princess walked toward the glass pod. Dust covered its surface, but a faint glowing symbol still pulsed on it, P0. Prototype 0. Aaron's knees weakened. He stepped back, shaking his head. "No, no, this can't be real." The princess reached out to him. "Aaron." But he pulled away. "You're saying I was made here? Like a machine? A weapon?" "You were made," she said softly, "but not like a machine. You were born with a human mind, a human heart, but enhanced to resist the enemy." Aaron touched the glass pod with trembling fingers. Flashbacks hit him like lightning. White lights. Cold sensors. Needles. Screams. Scientists panicking. A machine bursting into sparks. Him, breaking free of the pod as a child. He stumbled backward. His breathing became sharp. "I was an experiment." "You were the only one who survived," the princess said. "The others didn't. You broke the system. You escaped." "And then, the attack," Aaron whispered. "The rebels who came for me." She nodded. "They weren't rebels. They were the enemy trying to destroy the project, because they feared humans like you." Aaron dropped to his knees, overwhelmed. "My whole life, all the memories, everything was fake." "No," she said, kneeling beside him. "The feelings were real. The pain was real. Your heart is real. That is why you are different." He looked up at her, tears in his eyes. "Why did you help me?" The princess smiled sadly. "Because you helped me first. You saved me when you had no reason to. And because I saw something in you that the Empire was too blind to see." Aaron wiped his eyes. "And the enemy? Why do they still want me?" Her expression hardened. "Because the war is coming. Their mind wave is growing stronger. If they break into the station, they can control everyone." "But not me," Aaron whispered. "Not you," she said, "and that scares them." Suddenly, the chamber lights turned red. A loud alarm blared. The princess shot to her feet. "No, they found us." The wall opposite them exploded inward, spraying stone and metal everywhere. The enemy soldiers stepped inside, faster, stronger, more prepared than before. Aaron felt cold fear shoot up his spine. The princess grabbed his hand, pulling him behind the core pillar. "Aaron, listen to me. What I'm about to say, it will change everything." He looked at her, heart pounding. "What is it?" She took a deep breath. "You were not only made to resist them. You were made to stop them." Aaron shook his head. "Stop them? How? I can barely control what's inside me." "Because you don't understand it yet," she whispered. "But they do. That's why they're afraid." The soldiers forced their way closer, weapons glowing. Aaron felt the pressure inside his mind again, the burning heat that wanted to break free. He put his hand on the wall to steady himself. The princess pulled his face toward hers. "Aaron. I found another file. Something even the Empire didn't know." His eyes widened. "What file?" Her lips trembled. Prototype 0 was not designed to fight alone. Dread filled Aaron's chest. "What are you saying?" She squeezed his hand. "You were made with a bond, a link, to one person in the galaxy." Aaron swallowed hard. "Who?" The princess looked directly into his eyes, her voice breaking. Me. Aaron froze. Time stopped. The enemy soldiers lifted their weapons. The princess took a shaky breath. We were connected since childhood. That's why you found me during the attack. That's why I always felt you were alive. That's why your power triggers when I'm near. Aaron whispered, trembling, but, how? Her voice cracked with emotion. Because I was meant to guide you. To calm your mind. To stop you from losing yourself. We were created together, Aaron. I was the key. Before he could react, an enemy blast streaked toward them. The princess shoved Aaron away. The explosion filled the chamber. Smoke rose. Alarms screamed. Aaron scrambled on the ground, coughing, his vision blurry. Princess, he called out. Princess. He crawled toward her shape lying on the floor. Her eyes were barely open. She whispered one last thing, weak, shaky, full of truth. Aaron, you're not a weapon, you're the last hope. Then her hand slipped from his. And the enemy soldiers surrounded him.